Extend a formal welcome to everybody to MPN Horizons. It really is great to see everybody here. As you probably know, this is our fourth MPN Horizons. And I'd just like to draw your attention to our kind of strapline, which is learn, share, and grow. Now, we've done a bit of learning this morning already, thanks to Martin. There's new material here that you'll hear not only this morning, but throughout the weekend, which you'll be able to take away with you to deepen your understanding not only of MPNs themselves, but also of advocacy in this sphere. Sharing is one of the most important aspects of what we do this weekend, about sharing our knowledge, sharing our insights, sharing our ideas between advocates, and to grow our own activities within our own countries and our own communities, and of course to grow the network, to bring in new groups and to help new groups be established throughout the world. Main thing I'm here to do right now is to say thank you. I'd like to start off by thanking you all for coming, for giving up your time, for devoting yourselves to the work that we do here. And as I say, it's great to see everybody here this morning. Secondly, and very importantly, I'd like to thank our sponsors, our original and our platinum sponsor, Novartis, has been a constant support to the network and specifically to Horizons over the years. Our gold sponsors, Celgene and Insight, who are also here with us. Our bronze sponsors, CTI, AOP Orphan, and Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Thank you very much to everybody for the support that you show us. I'd particularly like to welcome Celgene and AOP. They are new sponsors to us this year, and it's really great to see our kind of support base growing over the years that we've been doing this. By the way, the color of the lanyards indicates kind of who you are. Most of us have these orange ones. Our speakers have green ones, and the sponsors have blue ones, so you kind of know who's who, which does not mean that you should be inhibited in any way about who you speak to. Please make friends with everybody over the weekend. I'd like to obviously extend our thanks to all the speakers who you will be hearing from this weekend. They give up their time completely freely to do this, and I know it's a huge commitment for these people who have very busy commitments in their professional lives and everything. So it's really amazing that they participate in our conference. Our organising group does an amazing job. I'm sure you're aware of that. It takes a lot of work to put on an event like this, and I'd particularly like to thank Giora. If you haven't met him already, he's the guy in the purple shirt at the back there. He's been doing this for us for ever since we started, and he does it for a number of other groups as well, and he does a fantastic job. The faces of the organisers are Lydia and Vanya. Guys, if you could just put your hands up so everybody knows who you are. You've probably seen Lydia and Vanya already, who welcomed you to the hotel. Thank you very much to them. And lastly, I'd like to thank the MPN-AN Steering Committee. We work throughout the year not only to organise Horizons, but to do the work that MPN-AN does, to grow the network, to do the projects, some of which you'll be hearing about over the weekend. And I'd particularly like to thank them and everybody else once again. Thank you. Very quickly, I'd just like to wrap up with just a few kind of logistical sort of details and stuff. When we get into the main talks, if you have a question for the speakers, we like to have questions at the end of the talk, and you have two options for that. The first is to use the microphones which are on your desks. Now there's a little button on the microphone. It's near the right-hand side. It has the little kind of face logo, and the thing that Giora said was a bit like a Wi-Fi symbol. That's the one to press when you want to speak. The light on the top of the microphone comes on when your microphone is live, and then you're speaking to the whole room, so everybody can hear your question, and it makes things much easier. If for any reason that you would prefer not to say your question out loud, you have a little card on your desk, and if you hold your card up, it'll be brought to the front of the room, and the chair will ask your question on your behalf. So that's about questions. I was about to say timings, so I've done a spectacularly bad job so far of keeping everybody on track, but I absolutely love Martin's talk, so it's kind of a balance between the two. Please help us to keep the conference running on time by turning up in the room at the right time, etc., etc. So we'll try and do a better job as we go forward. One last thing. I've noticed a couple of people photographing the slides. Absolutely no problem with that, but you don't really need to do that. We will be putting all the slides and recordings of the speeches and the talks on the MPNAN website in a week or two. We'll do that as quickly as we can after the conference, and they will be available to all the delegates. So please pay attention to the talks, obviously, but you will be getting all the material. And I'm particularly pleased to be able to say that because there's a lot of material that you'll be seeing over the next couple of days. That's pretty much it from me in terms of an intro. Now, Peter, did you want to say anything at this point? Okay, fine. Now, I'd like to invite up to the podium Sofia Cardosa, who's a native of Lisbon. She's also a patient advocate, and I know that she would love to say a few words about her wonderful city and to give you her personal and local welcome. So, Sofia.
Thank you, Jon. I know that I don't have much time, so I will just try to give you a few tips about Portugal and about Lisbon. And first of all, welcome to Portugal, welcome to my hometown, Lisbon. It is a real pleasure to have you all here. I know many of you, but I don't know all of you. I am a pharmacist and a patient advocate for years. I run a small organization focused on chronic blood cancers in Lisbon. And I will just, because you will not have time to see Lisbon, you are going to be stuck in here, learning and sharing. Everything that you will learn about Lisbon will be what I will show you. So pay attention. And so just to give you an idea about Portugal. Portugal has been a great potence a few years ago. We were the country, a global country of the discoveries, and in the 16th and 17th century, we were all over the world. We were in all countries. We were in India, in Africa. We discovered the sea route to India. We were the European country that discovered the Brazil, and that's why we have such a huge heritage of Portuguese speaking in the world. We have like 250 million Portuguese-speaking people in the world. We are like the 60 language spoken in the world, and we have like a mixture of races called the Criollos, like Portuguese mixed between African and Brazilian all over. So we were like a strong potency in the so-called discovery times, like I said, in the 60th and 17th century. Nowadays, Portugal, it's... do I have... I don't have like a portable micro. so that I could see. Okay, no, it's okay. We have like a population of around 10 million inhabitants. And we are a much smaller country, like our main town is Lisbon, and it's a coastal city. And it's not really about what we have done in the past, the reason why we are known. If we ask someone, where is Portugal, what we are known for, and I have experienced that myself, especially on the States, really, people just seem to think that we are like a city from Spain or whatever. But if we talk, no, we are the country of Cristiano Ronaldo, the football player. No, there he is. Everyone knows who we are. We are the country of Cristiano, where Cristiano Ronaldo was born. That's not just the country of Cristiano Ronaldo. We also have beautiful beaches, and the seaside in Algarve, it's very well known. We also have the famous wine of Porto, the Porto wine for 100 years, more than several hundred years. It's well known, and the Madeira wine also. We are the country where the salted codfish is cooked in more than 100 different ways, and I think it's only in Portugal that you can find that. We are also the country of pastéis de nata and many other things, but you will see, probably, I hope that you can discover that for yourself. And talking about our coastal center, Lisbon, we have here around 3 million inhabitants. And Lisbon has 3.3% of the geographic area of Portugal. And Lisbon is a city that was totally or almost totally destroyed during the big earthquake in 1755. It was in the 1st of November of 1755. It was the All Saints' Day, which is a holiday that we celebrate. We honor the death, and it was also lots of fireworks and so on. And this earthquake, a 9 in the scale, destroyed 90% of the city. And it was really, really terrible. And then a big tsunami entered the Terreiro do Passo, you can see in the image, and destroyed Lisbon. And I mean, all these beautiful, all these opulence that we had, it was very, very difficult to start again, and we never really recover from what happened after the destruction in the earthquake of the city where all the power was. Nowadays, Lisbon has several mysteries, as is known as the city of the Seven Hills. You can travel around by the 28th tram. It's the yellow tram, but if you have time, which I don't know, you must be very, very careful with the pickpockets, because there's always a pickpocket in the yellow tram. Always. And you can never find it. You just, you know, he's there for the tourists and he works very well and he always hits you. So you just grab your wallet and don't leave it. These Seven Hills are really beautiful places where you have a fantastic view of the town, of the city. Either you have a view of the Castelo de São Jorge or you have the view of another beautiful, beautiful point. Another iconic, great mark of the city is our beautiful bridge called the 25 of April, 25 de Abril Bridge, which is very similar to the San Francisco Bridge, it was made by a Californian company, not the same one that built the San Francisco Bridge, but in the same terms, and it's many times it's compared. And it's on the other side, it's also Christ the King, Christ the Lord, which is also a very beautiful mark of Lisbon. Lisbon is also the city of the so-called pastéis de nata, which is a cook, a pastry, very well known, and they say that only 3 people in the world have the recipe. You will try it probably here, because there are they sell it in many of the pastries and coffee shops all around, but the original recipe, it's just sold in pastéis in a place called Pastéis de Nata de Belém, the original one, which is in front of Belém Tower, which is also a landmark of Lisbon, and it's the original recipe. Probably you've heard of it. It's the pastry is covered with cinnamon and icing sugar. It's delicious. This Belém Tower was built during discoveries, and but in the 19th century it was it worked as a prisoner during when the monarchy fell and the republic and so on. It worked as a prison. We also are the city where the longest bridge over a river was built, and it's the Vasco da Gama Bridge, in honor of Vasco da Gama. He was the one that discovered the sea way to India, and it has more than 17,000 meters long. It's also a beautiful bridge. It's in the west side of Lisbon, in the new part of Lisbon, where you have the ocean and so on. And there is this nice song that you probably have heard about, which is called Fado. Fado is now considered a patrimony of the UNESCO. It's a heritage. It's like a morning, a song that comes from inside. And Portuguese, we are Latins, like the Italians, and so on. And we have our feelings very deeply. And when we sing, the Fado singer, they sing from inside. And every Fado songs are related with destiny, missing people. And they are all related with a word that really does not have a translation, which is called saudade. Saudade, it's related with missing a person, but it really does not have a translation. It's beautiful, and who knows, maybe you'll have a chance to hear some fado. And that's a bit about Lisbon. I hope you'll have time to discover, but if not, you'll have what I've shown you here. It's also the city of the grilled sardines, but this is not time for sardines. Sardines is in June, July, and there are so many curiosities that I do not have the time to tell you. Tell you this: it was our queen, Catarina de Bragança, that took the 5 o'clock tea to England. So it was like the Portuguese that had all the spicy and the teas and so on from India, and it was our queen that took the 5 o'clock tea habit to Lisbon, because Lisbon, it's such an old city. Portugal, it's a country with such a story. Lisbon, it's the second oldest city in Europe. The first one is Athens, and the second is Lisbon. So I have finished. I can tell you much more about the city and the country. And if you need any tips, anything, if someone stays more, I'm here to help you. Thank you very much. Enjoy Lisbon and enjoy your days. Thank you.